Hey guys, it's Karalynn, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm glad that you're here. Today, we're going to go as another episode in our series on 50 state lien rights. Today, we're going to go over lien rights in Alabama. And so I think every state has different lien rights, but what is a lien, right? I think it's important to remember that a lien is an actual piece of paper that's filed where the real property records are kept that gives you a security interest in the property that you improved. It basically makes the debt that you're owed from unsecured to secured, meaning that the amount that you're owed is secured by the property, and that the absolute remedy is to force the sale of that property to make sure that you get paid, right? Now, normally it doesn't get that far, you get paid way before that, but it is a very strong remedy. So, like in Alabama, like most states, you have to file each step exactly to have a valid lien because it's such a strong remedy, right? Who has lien rights in Alabama? The original contractor, general contractor, the person who has a contract directly with the owner has lien rights. Subcontractors and material suppliers have lien rights. Now, subcontractors do not have lien rights, so it basically stops at that material supplier level. It doesn't go any further down. It's also required in Alabama that you actually improve the property to have lien rights, meaning that architects or engineers won't have lien rights for just drawing plans. They actually have to go out there and supervise the work if they want to have lien rights. That's not to say that architects and engineers aren't entitled to be paid. They can still want to breach a contract. They're not allowed that remedy of getting a security interest on the property. So actually have to improve the property that you're that you're going to file a lien against. It can't just be drawing plans. Okay, Alabama has two different kinds of liens: a full price lien and an unpaid balance lien. So the full price lien is what the original contractor has. The person who contracts directly with the owners is entitled to be paid the full price that they're owed. And as a general contractor, they don't have to send a notice of intent to lien. Basically, they don't have to send any notice that they remain unpaid before they file the liens. But an original contractor who's directly in contract with the owner has got to file their lien within 6 months of last work in order for it to be valid. And then in Alabama, all liens are filed with the probate court where the property is located. So in some states, it's the county clerk or the district clerk. In Alabama, it is the probate court. So, and then everyone else has what's referred to as an unpaid balance lien. All right, and what does that mean? That means you can only have only have a lien to the extent that the general contractor has not been paid. So basically, if the owner receives notice that you're owed money and they've already paid the general contractor everything, you're not entitled to a lien. This is why it's so important to send notice early, right? There's a deadline in here, but you can always send it early. And the earlier you send it, the more likely you are to trap funds in the hands of the owner and be paid the full amount that you're owed. Now, material suppliers can have a lien for the full amount owed if they send notice to the owner and their lender before they supply materials, right? So before you supply materials, you send a notice that you're supplying materials to the project, an estimated amount, what type of materials, to the owner and the lender, saying, hey, if I'm not paid for these, I will file a lien. In that situation, you can have a lien for the full amount from material suppliers. So, but you have to take that step before you start supplying materials and send that notice. Otherwise, you will still have, and if you don't do that before you start supplying materials, you will still have an unpaid balance lien to the extent that the owner still owes general contractor money, right? So again, the key is in all states, but especially in states like this that says you only have a lien to the amount that the owner still owes the general contractor money, is to send the notice early. Now, for subcontractors and material suppliers, they have to send an intent to file a lien before they file the lien. There's no deadline, but the sooner the better. So as soon as you're owed money, you have to send in the intent that you're going to file a lien, saying how much you're owed before you actually file the lien. And then subcontractors and material suppliers must file their lien within 4 months after last work. right? And the lien has to have the name of the owner, the name and address of the owner, the name and address of the lender, the legal description of the property. I also include the address of the property. I also, the amount that you're owed, and you can attach an account statement or, a brief statement of the description of the work that you applied. It has to be notarized and verified that that's an affidavit that you're stating the facts in there are true and correct. And then you file it with the probate court. Now, although the statute in Alabama doesn't require it, I always send a notice that the lien is filed after it's filed, letting all, the owner, the lender, the general contractor know that you filed the lien, and here's a copy of the lien that was filed. Now, Alabama does have a very short time period on liens, right? So if you don't file suit to enforce your lien within 6 months, the lien expires. So you have 6 months from the time you did the last work, not from the time you filed the lien, to actually file a lawsuit to enforce that lien. Okay, and you're entitled to get your attorney's fees back once you file that lien. But and for material suppliers, you have to prove that your material is actually used there. Delivery is not enough. So, guys, knowing your lien rights is important to a consistent collection strategy, right? I'm going through the rules required for all 50 states so you can build this in to your consistent collection strategy. So, like, if you are a material supplier supplying materials in Alabama, what you're going to want to do on the front end is find out who the original contractor is that you're supplying materials to, do the research and find out who the property owner is. And before you supply materials, you're going to want to send out a notice that you're supplying materials to this job and you expect to be paid. That way you preserve your amount, your right to be paid the full amount, not just an unpaid balance lien, right? So like in Alabama, I would probably set it up, that's a material supplier. Everybody else, I wouldn't wait but 15 or 20 days past the invoice being late to send an intent to lien notice and then file the lien, right? So you can build it in. If you're a material supplier, send that before you supply materials. If the invoice is open for, 15, 20 days past when it's supposed to be paid, then I would move forward with an intent to lien and then file the lien if you're not paid, because the sooner you do it, the more likely you are to get paid. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of deadlines, especially in Alabama, besides when you need to file the lien, and 6 months for general contractors, 6 months after last work for general contractors, and 4 months for subcontractors and material suppliers. But besides that, there's not a whole lot of deadlines, right? So sending it, if you wait as a subcontractor till 4 months after you did your last work to send in a notice and then file your lien, your lien would still be valid under the rules, but it's going to be most likely that the owner has paid the general contractor everything. So I would not wait that long. I would do it way sooner, right? The whole purpose of the lien rights are to secure that the amount that you're owed and to get paid. And if you're, 30, 60 days past due, you already know it's a problem. There's no reason to wait. If it's costing you to have a client, they're not worth having, right? Just because you can get up and go to work every day doesn't mean it's worth it. You have to actually be getting paid. And so fitting in this consistent collection strategy as part of your business operation is huge. You don't want to get to the end of the year and look at your write-off and it's a substantial amount, $100,000, $200,000 that you just didn't collect. And that, that's where your profit is. So really nailing down a consistent collection strategy that brings in your lien rights. Guys, if you need help, you can call me at the firm, email me. I'll be here to help you build a strategy just for your company. We also do subscription services for collections in all 50 states. So if you need help, we're here to help, guys. You work hard, you deserve to collect your money. All right, guys, thanks. Get you in the next episode.